Hello, and welcome to the Week 10 recap. Nights. So no one stepped up to do last week's recap. None for this week's either, so figured I'd handle it. Just, to make sure there's no backlash or anything. Make sure the league's all up to date on the happenings league-wide. So you may be asking yourself, Julian, what qualifies you to do, two recaps in the regular season? This right here, that's what qualifies me. So I didn't get to show that last time. I meant to do that. One of my lights went out too, so that sucks. But anyway, let's talk about last week. I picked Donkey Kong music just because it's the first thing I could think of for some reason. Alright, so our first matchup of the week featured Team Eli going up against Going Incognito. Nice. Eli predictably lost. He did put up 75 points, which is actually a pretty high score for Eli these days. Alfred Morris, surprisingly, had over 100 total yards, so that's good for you. But Koi is one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Rattled off 4 straight wins. Brandon Cooks looks to be back in. Looks to be like the receiver that Koi drafted when he took him there. So Koi moves to 4-6, and he's doing everything he can to avoid that T-Jack. He could still finish with a winning record. In fact, we'll get to that later, but Eli moves to 2-8 and is cemented dead in last place. Next matchup, let's talk about Super Mario Brothers, Randy's team taking on the Flaming Unicorns. Randy, another team that's gotten hot, especially with his acquisition of D'Angelo Williams. D'Angelo Williams actually had a pretty, I would say, a very mediocre day. Mediocre of the week. I'm going to do that in a future segment. D'Angelo Williams should have ran all over Cleveland's run defense. Looks like he ended up with... D'Angelo Williams had 6.9 points. Nice. But, yeah, he wasn't... He didn't do as well as I thought he was going to do. Kelly didn't have a great day, especially with Peyton Manning. So Emmanuel Sanders was out. Peyton Manning threw for 35 yards and had 4 picks, and then Brock Osweiler came in, so DT didn't look super great either. But Kelly was able to eke out a win against a seemingly resurgent Randy squad. So Kelly goes to 7-3, Randy goes to 2-8. Next matchup, we'll do mine because it's really boring and bad. It actually ended up being close. I'll skip most of the stuff, but Carsko, I was down 70. Actually, okay, this is interesting. Sunday night, Russell Wilson completed a pass to Doug Baldwin that got the Arizona Cardinals over a certain yardage threshold. That drops the defense 2 points. So I actually ended that game up by 0.9. Then there was stat correction after the game. Then I was down by 1.9. I was down by 0.1. So I needed Tyler Eifert to have just 2 yards, and it was actually a tough 2 yards on Monday night. I waited until about the second quarter to get that. And Eifert did look pretty bad. Had some drops. Definitely wasn't one of his best. Wasn't one. Was probably his worst performance of the year. But I did get enough points. Score 80 and win. Kind of gross, but better than scoring 78 and losing. So I go to 8-2. Carsko drops to 3-7. He's been having a kind of a rough go of things here, especially with all of his injuries. So yeah, better luck next time, Carsko. All right, next we got Andrew Bad Luck taking on West St. Paul Anchor Babies. Jacob, congratulations. Jacob finally starts all the players that score a bunch of points and now we see the result of that. So, I've said it all year. Jacob has I think, very good team, and my dad is, he had 3 straight wins before this. I think he's in good shape too. But this week, Jacob got a very well-deserved and very much needed team win against a respectable team. So, Jacob, congrats. Jeremy Langford pickup is looking great. Way to go. Next, we have Qui-Gon Janice taking on Team Max. So Niall, had the unfortunate, Niall unfortunately has Eddie Lacy on his team, who was declared inactive prior to the game, and with a combination of other buys and injuries to his team, Niall didn't really have anyone to start at running back, so kind of rough there. Niall also lost Julian Edelman in that game with a foot injury, and it looks like Julian Edelman is done for the fantasy season anyway. Oh my God. Well, another light went out. I don't know what the fuck's going on there. But Max didn't have a great day either, to be honest. Not super. This is better. There you go. Max didn't have a great day either, but he scored more than Niall. Niall had a pretty rough outing. Max moves to 7-3, if you can believe it. Niall also moves to 7-3, so it looks like they are tied. Max will never let us forget it. Finally, last matchup of the week, our big, huge rivalry game between Chris and Henry. No love lost there. Throw out the record books, all that stuff. Chris wins 93 to 86. Chris was the beneficiary of a late Marshawn Lynch touchdown on Monday night, which helped put him ahead. And Henry just had a really dismal day from Andy Dalton and Jeremy Hill, 2 players who you might have expected to have a pretty decent, pretty good day against the Texans, but I guess not. Andy Dalton kind of looked like primetime Andy. Threw some picks, had some really stupid passes. My boy Eifert didn't help at all with some drops, but yeah, Henry was not able to pull out the win there. Henry goes to 7-3 on the year, and Chris moves to 6-4. So, sorry, this isn't comfortable for me. How I'm sitting. Let me do this. There we go. Now you guys are seeing all my room here. So, okay, cool. So yeah, those are the matchups of the week. Now, let me get to the everyone's favorite segment, the shame of the week. One sec. Shit.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Bing, 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 bing. They are who we thought they were. But we let them off the hook. China. They're better than we are. We're not good enough.
It's embarrassing. I represent that.
Okay, after careful deliberation, this week's Shame of the Week goes to Niall. And it's a little unfair, but I gotta give it to Niall because Niall started probably what will be the worst player to be on a starting roster this year with Alonzo Harris. It's probably other people he could have picked. I don't think anything would have made a difference, really. But yeah, Niall started Alonzo Harris, the third string, I guess was bumped up to the second string running back for the Packers against against the Lions. So, couple reasons. First, Alonzo Harris, Jesus Christ. Second, I was gonna give it to the person that started the most Packers, which did happen to be Niall, just because of how embarrassing the Packers' performance was at home against the Lions. But yeah, it goes to Alonzo Harris. I don't think you'll see, and it's a homer move, and when it doesn't pay off, you're gonna get the business from me. That's just how it goes. Champion's prerogative. That's what I say. But yeah, shame of the week goes to Niall. So, let's get into next week's matchups, and I'm going to talk about some playoff scenarios too here. So pay attention. All right, first matchup. I'll talk about my matchup. It actually really doesn't matter. I take on Eli. Eli's 2-8. I'm 8-2, currently in first place. His team is pretty just god awful. And like I said earlier in the season, I don't think Eli's going to win another game. I do think he's going to just lose out, and that'll be it. Sorry. But yeah, not much for playoff implications there. I think Eli's pretty solidly locked into the T-Jack there. Next matchup is interesting. We have the Super Mario Brothers taking on Andrew Badluck. Jacob's missing Antonio Brown this weekend, and Randy's missing Drew Brees. So it's going to be a battle to see kind of who has depth here, who makes the right managerial decisions. And this is also big because, while both of these teams are certainly not poised to, it doesn't look great for them for the playoffs. But I think if any of these 2-8 teams, there's 3 2-8 teams, I think if any of them are going to make it, it could be Jacob. And Jacob had a must-win against Adam last week, and he won that one. He pulled it out. So, it's oh my god, seriously. It's going to be important for Jacob to win that one. I'm going to move again. That was the trophy. It's fine, though. I fixed it before. Okay. It's fine. Okay. But yeah, huge game for Jacob coming up. And my thoughts are that he'll win, but we'll see what the Swami says on Thursday. All right. Here's a good one. We have Kropopoulos Crew against Team Max. So, after doing some calculations myself and having those confirmed by my secret app that I use on a simulator or an emulator, Henry, the Kropopoulos Crew and Team Max both have playoff spots. And let me go back a little bit. I clinched this week by beating Karsko, and by me beating Karsko, you guys are welcome. I clinched, Max clinched, Henry clinched, Kelly clinched, and Niall also clinched. So, Henry and Niall, you guys backed in. Congratulations. And you're welcome. Actually, Henry backed in. Okay. But there are five playoff spots are taken. There's 3 left, and we have 8 people competing for them. 7 people competing for them. That's it. So, 3 spots, 7 people, 4 are left out. You know the drill. But yeah, Henry takes on Max this weekend in a battle of teams who have already clinched. Henry sort of slipped down to 7-3 with a couple losses here, and Max has climbed up to 7-3. So 2 teams meeting kind of at an intersection of Henry's on the downswing here, kind of Max is on the upswing. Should be an interesting matchup. A lot of ego there, so that'll be fun to watch. All right. We have, let's go to Knights of Yeldon taking on the Flaming Unicorns. So John's in a skid here. He's playing a team that's already made the playoffs. Kelly has a very, just incredibly strong squad, and I haven't done the exact math, but obviously losing this week is gonna, it's gonna be a killer for John. Oh my god, I forgot the Donkey Kong music. Jesus. Yeah, John needs to win this game. I mean, he loses this game, he's guaranteed, if he loses this game, the best record he's gonna have is 5-8, and it's tough for me to see how a 5-8 team makes the playoffs. Even though I said earlier that Jacob could possibly make it, it'd have to be a gross logjam, and then Jacob would have to win points for. But yeah, John's got to win this week. He's really got to win the next 2 weeks, but it'll be a tough go against Kelly's team. Next, we have Nuwanda Rising, Chris's team, taking on West St. Paul Qui-Gon Janus. Niall has been ailing from multiple injuries. He suffered the loss of Arian Foster, Julian Edelman now, and he drafted Eddie Lacy too, which is that's just a loss in itself, and Randall Cobb, which is bad because he's on the Packers and they're really struggling a lot. But he gets Devontae Freeman back this week, and he has a gaudy projection of 20 points. So, personally, I hope he doesn't get that, because that means Julio isn't getting his points. Not that it matters a bunch for me at this point, but the main thing to take away from this matchup is that if Chris wins this week, there's a light. If Chris wins this week, he is in. That's it. Chris gets to 7 wins. That means he has a winning record. That means there are 4 people. There's 4 people several people that aren't going to have a winning record. If Chris can get to that 7th win, he is in. He's in the playoffs. He's going to the dance, baby. Dick Vitale. Yeah, Chris wins and he's in, and that means there's 6 playoff spots, which means last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks we have 2 more spots remaining. We have 6 people fighting for them, and it's going to be a bloodbath that I'm just going to relish watching that, high atop my peak already in the playoffs. So, good luck to both those teams this week. And finally, this is the game that I think everyone should watch. Most years, you look at this matchup on paper, you have Adam taking on Coy, you look at that why are those 2 teams even in the league? That's what you'd think. But my dad's 5-5, Coy's 4-6. This game has massive playoff implications. Coy could get to 5-6, bring my dad down to 5-6, and effectively position himself to be the 7 seed. And this is a Coy team that was 4 weeks ago. They were 0-6. Coy was winless, and he just kind of skyrocketed to this 4-6 record. Obviously, my dad, who has actually a terrible, I think he's made the playoffs just 1 time in 4 years. But my dad's also been resurgent, with Lamar Miller, Alshon Jeffrey. God, I hate to say it, but Derek Carr even. AP, obviously, pretty easy to just draft AP, and you can do that. But yeah, both these teams are teams that I think a lot of people earlier in the year had kind of just written off and forgot about. But these are it's a 5-win and a 4-win team. Both these teams could make playoffs possibly, but whoever wins this is going to put themselves in a great position over the loser. To get one of those final 3 playoff spots remaining. So that's your Week 11 preview. We went over the Week 10 scores, and hopefully this hasn't been too lengthy. I had my glasses on the whole time. I figure if I'm gonna be Vanderlei Industries, I might as well look like a slob for one of my public appearances. But yeah, good luck, everyone. I hope you enjoy the long recap. I didn't plan a bunch of gimmicks or anything, except I didn't plan the light bulbs going out, but they did anyway. But yeah, good luck. 3 playoff spots remaining. 5 teams are in, and 4 teams don't make it and will compete for the T-Jack. So, good luck, everyone. You guys are gonna need it, and may the fantasy gods bless you. And let's all remember why we're doing this. It's not just for the money, but for the hardware too. Take it easy.